morning, class. For today's short lecture on geography, we'll be studying about the topic precipitation. In our previous classes, we have already learned about the different types of railways headquarters. We have also learned about drainage pattern. Now, from the perspective of your exams, such as CDS, NDA, AFCAT, geography is divided into three parts. Firstly, we have physical geography, then we have Indian geography, and thirdly, we have world geography. In Indian geography, we have questions such as like the Himalayas, the deltas, the peninsular plateau, the drainage pattern, the rivers, the plains, the islands. All these play a part in the Indian geography. Then we have physical geography. In physical geography, we have topics such as like volcanoes, precipitation, clouds, wind system, ocean currents, ocean tides. All these play a crucial role. Thirdly, we have world geography. In world geography, questions gets asked based on current affairs, such as due to the recent wars of US, Iran, and Israel, questions might come up such as what are the neighboring countries of Iran or what are the neighboring countries of Israel. So these sorts of question could be expected from your exam's point of view. Now, what are the important topics? The important topics in Indian geography are the most important topic in Indian geography is the drainage system. Questions are for sure to come from drainage system, such as the Indus River system, the Brahmaputra River system, the Ganga River system, the Yamuna River system. Questions often come like where do they start? What is their flowing pattern? What are the various tributaries? Arranging the tributaries from east to west, from north to south. So these kinds of questions are often asked in the exams. Moving on, we get questions from Himalayas, from the islands. So what kind of question can we expect from the islands? So from the islands, we get questions like what is the northernmost island in Andaman Nicobar, which is the southernmost, arranging the islands. So these kinds of questions. For our physical geography today, we'll be starting with precipitation. So let's start. So we have something known as humidity and dew point. So what is humidity? So humidity is nothing but it's the amount of water vapor present in the air. We get to see that on a bright summer day when we let our clothes to dry, they dry very fast. Whereas on a cloudy day, when we leave our clothes to dry, it takes a lot of time. So why is that? Even though on a cloudy day it's warm, we do feel hot. The clothes don't dry. So it is because there is already an ample amount of water vapor in the air on a cloudy day, right? So what is absolute humidity? So absolute humidity is the actual weight of water vapor per unit volume of air. It is expressed in grams per cubic meter. It differs globally from place to place, right? Then we have relative humidity. It is the percentage of moisture compared to air's full capacity at a given temperature. So in relative humidity, air's full capacity at a given temperature, right? Full capacity and given temperature. In relative humidity, there is a given temperature. Now, saturated air. Saturated air is incapable of holding additional moisture. So when saturation is reached, the atmosphere cannot hold any more water vapor, right? What is the dew point? So it is the exact temperature at which the saturation occurs. So when saturation occurs, it is known as dew point. So now we learn about the atmospheric engine, that is heat and phase changes. So firstly, we have evaporation, that is liquid to gas. So when it turns from liquid to gas, we have heat loss. because as we can see, it's given here from liquid to gas. So during a very warm day, evaporation takes place. Water vapor rises, and thus we get to see heat loss. Then we have condensation, that is gas to liquid. So gas to liquid, this happens during cooling. So when there is a certain temperature change and cold winds or cold temperature comes in contact, cooling takes place, due to which condensation takes place and gas is turned back to liquid state. So this is a very important diagram. You all can pay attention. So from evaporation to condensation, we have heat loss, and from condensation to evaporation, we have heat addition, right? So this is very important from your exam's point of view. Now we come on to forms of condensation, right? So there are two types basically. So firstly, we have in the surface, right? So when it's in the surface, we have dew and we have frost. So when this dew forms above freezing point, right? Water droplets on cooler solids. Where what is frost? It is below freezing point. Dew and frost is very important here. Then we have condensation suspended in air. So firstly, we have fog and mist, condensation on dust particles near the ground, and smog. Urban condition where fog mixes with industrial smoke. So smoke and fog leads to smog, and fog and mist is at the ground level, right? So this is here at the surface, this is at the in the air. So this is your important parts here are the dew and frost, which one is above freezing point and which one is below freezing point. Now we come on to the different types of clouds. In our previous class, we have already learned there are different types of clouds. We have high clouds, we have mid clouds, we have low clouds. Among them, we have few more clouds. For example, when you go out, you look in the sky, sometimes you see some clouds shaped in cotton wool. So what is cotton wool shaped clouds? It is your cumulus. Sometimes you get to see clouds in the form of long strings, in the form of long feathers. So what is that? It is your cirrus clouds. Then we have the dark rain-bearing clouds. So what is the dark rain-bearing clouds? It is nothing but it is your nimbus clouds. So this is your different types of clouds, right? So firstly we have nimbus here. It is in the mid levels or very near the surface, right? It is black, dark, gray, and shapeless. Then we have stratus or low elevation. These are layered clouds covering large portions of the sky. Finally, we have cumulus. As I said before, they are cotton, wool-like. Finally, we have cirrus. It is thin, detached, feathery. So this is very important word. Feather, cotton wool, and this is layered, right? Nimbus is in the middle. Stratus is at the low level. Cumulus is at 4,000 to 7,000 meters, and cirrus is at 8,000 to 12,000 meters. Defining precipitation, right? The release of moisture. So how does precipitation occurs? So it occurs due to constant condensation. Due to condensation, the gas turns to liquid form. We have the gravity threshold as the air fills to hold the heavier particles, and finally the release. Now we'll learn the forms of precipitation. Precipitation is not only rainfall, but there are various forms of precipitation. So firstly, we have rainfall. It is precipitation in the form of liquid water. Then we have snowfall. Occurs when temperature is below 0 degree. Moisture is released as hexagonal ice crystals forming fine flakes. We have sleet, frozen raindrops, and refrozen melted snow water. Forms when rain falls through a sub-freezing layer of air near the ground, right? Finally, we have hailstones. Raindrops solidified into small, rounded, solid pieces of ice. Rainfall is liquid water. Snowfall occurs when temperature is below 0 degree. Sleet is frozen raindrops and refrozen melted snow water. Hailstorm is raindrops solidified into small, round, solid pieces of ice. Right? So now we will learn about orographic rainfall. So what is orographic rainfall? Orographic rainfall is nothing but it happens in mountainous regions. What happens is, suppose this is a mountain here, the rain gets in touch with this side and rainfall happens here. Whereas this side, the leeward side, receives no rainfall. So this is the orographic rainfall. Here we have the windward side, saturated air masses ascends the mountain, moisture condenses, heavy rainfall. Right? We have the leeward side, wind descend, remains rainless and dry. So this is your basic mechanics of orographic rainfall. So you can look here. So now we will learn about world distribution of rainfall or how rainfall is distributed in the world or what is the total, what is the pattern, right? So we have here under 50 centimeter or very low, rain shadow zones, interior continents, high latitudes. We have low 50 to 100 centimeter central parts of tropical land in eastern interior temperate lands. We have moderate 100 to 200 centimeter interior continental areas and coastal areas of continents. Finally, we have heavy, and then it is equatorial belt, windward slope of western coast, right? So this is your distribution of rainfall in the world. Now we come on to some important points here. So the word monsoon comes from the Arabic term mausim, meaning season. So then latitude. The Tropic of Cancer divides India. South is tropical, north is subtropical. It is very, very important. Then we have latitude and relief. The Himalayas prevent cold Central Asian winds from entering, creating milder winter, right? The Himalayas prevents cold Central Asian winds from entering, creating milder winters. Driven by surface winds, upper air circulation, and the Coriolis force, deflecting the right in the northern hemisphere. So these are two important points, latitude and altitude, from this slide. Now we will learn about the types of monsoons in India. So firstly, we have advancing or wet season. When does it happen? It happens in early June. Low pressure intensifies over northern plains, attracting southeast trade winds, right? The southwest monsoon. So winds blow over warm oceans, cross the equator, turn right and enter the peninsula, bringing abundant moisture. So distribution, Western Ghat receives more rain, Mozinram receives the highest average rainfall. the breaks. Monsoon feature wet and dry spell dictated by the movement of monsoon through axis. So this is your about south advancing monsoon or the wet season. Then we have something known as retreating monsoon. So what is retreating monsoon? So when does it happen? It happens during October to November. Sun moves south, northern plains low pressure weakens, is replaced by high pressure, and monsoon winds withdraw. We get October heat, clear skies, high temperatures, and moist land create oppressive weather. Tropical cyclones, low pressure shift to Bay of Bengal, spawning destructive cyclone that strike the Coromandel coast. So what is the benefit of rainfall? We all know climatic unity despite temperature extreme, rhythmic cycle of seasons unites the subcontinent, good agriculture, one single ecosystem, and good for plants and animal life. So these are some of the importance of rainfall. So with this, I'd like to end today's class. I hope you've been able to concentrate and learn something new. You have learned about the various types of rainfall, the various types of clouds. You learned about advancing, retreating monsoon. So all this gets asked in the exam. So these are very easy topics. I hope you've been able to understand. Thank you, class.